Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. Today's video is all about our chicken coop build. My husband is going to walk you through in the beginning. If you want to skip to where he starts working on it, I'll put the time on the screen. But other than that, hope you enjoyed today's video and thank you guys for being here.
Alrighty, we're on the exterior of the recently finished, well, I guess it's about 2 months old at this point, but the recently finished chicken coop. And so for reference, this is going to be 12 feet long and then 8 feet wide, and we'll show you in the interior just how large it is. So right now this is housing 20 hens and then a rooster. And all in, and we'll talk about specifically what that entails, but all in, we're at $726. All right, so let's come around towards the back, show them the wheel system. So I think the benefit this chicken coop, chicken tractor, whatever you want to call it, has is the specific wheel system. So this is probably the best that we have on the property, just in terms of longevity and how it functions. And even if I did have to rebuild this entire thing, well, the wheels are $7.99 a piece. The rest is just pressure treated wood, and you're really not using very much of it. And so this wheel system, that's going to keep it about an inch off the ground. And then I've got another thing set up, our height block set up. So that's about 2 inches off the ground. And so you're just able to easily tilt both sides up and then just pull it from the front like any other tractor. But why I think this system is superior to the others that I'm aware of and have used in the past is because this is directly under the load, right? And so it's in line with the base of the chicken coop and putting that load directly above the tire, as opposed to other coops that we have on the property. We typically, you put your wheel system on the outside of the coop, about 3 feet from the back of the coop. And what that does is it doesn't carry the load on its center. And so we call it like your wheels are going to get pretty squatty. And so the base of the wheel will actually kick out. And over time, you'll either have to replace the entire wheel system or replace the entire base of the coop, because it's just, there's not a lot of longevity there unless you're using a fully metal system. Which we do have a couple of those my dad built, and they're really good, but they're thousands of dollars in materials and then days and days and days of welding and work. All right, so that's the wheel system. In the back here, while all of the base design is Cotton River Farms, and Lindsay will post that or put that in the description. So that gives us everything from like what specific sizes we're doing everything, what angles you'll make, right? How many pieces of wood you need, how many screws you need, all of that. It gives you a very detailed list of all those things. But we did make a few different modifications. From the wheel system, I made it a little bit more hefty, right? Because I built the much larger version of this. And then also this rack here, as well as the water reservoir, and then the drip feeder in the inside. This wasn't in the plans, but essentially this is a 15.4 gallon reservoir. And so that allows myself, my wife, right, the kids, to have to really take the maintenance out of owning chickens, because there's a lot you have to do with them just in general, right? And if you can just take one more thing off the plate, that's really, really beneficial. And so in this case, we fill this every week or so, the 15.4 gallon reservoir. And then it just, we'll show you on the interior, but it just feeds that into the drip dome feeder that we have. All right, this is the nesting box. And the cool thing about the nesting box is it's low enough to where my kids can get access to it. And what you'll notice here is these are just some of the eggs that have been laid. The back of this nesting box is 1.5 inches lower than the front. And so when they lay an egg, it's going to naturally over time roll down to the base. So you're not going to get the hens literally crapping all over the eggs. We have to take them inside and then spend about 10-15 minutes washing all of them, because we get about 20 eggs a day with all of our hens. So once again, it's just minimizing the amount of maintenance that you have to do with everything. Alrighty. So as you can see, we'll get to the front in a second, but the back, it's all 1/2 inch hardware mesh or hardware cloth. So it's just galvanized wire, right? This stuff is pretty pricey, especially where we're at. I don't know if that's the case everywhere, but what I did that was different from the original plans is I went ahead and only went 48 inches up on the sides. And so we can really show you that in detail when we get inside. But with the hardware cloth, I only went 48 inches up on the sides because here where we're at specifically in Florida, we don't have a whole lot of predators that are going to get in there and kill all of our birds. So we really just want to prevent, things like dogs and maybe foxes from getting in. And this does a really, really good job at that. And then really just preventing the birds from getting out was the main thing for us. So I only went 48 inches up, and once again, we'll show you that on the interior. So that allowed us to save just a bit of money. Alrighty. So it's just a rope pull system, right? If I had the wheels cocked up, I just lift this and pull it wherever I need to go. Mind you, this is not very light. Especially the kind of pressure treated wood we have that's available in the United States today. It's not kiln dried wood, so you're going to get very wet, very dense, very heavy wood. It doesn't even really have the benefit of being hardwood. But yeah, so that's going to add a tremendous amount of weight, plus all the different bracketing that we have on the inside, and we'll show that in a second. Just close that behind you, or actually don't close it, just pull it too, because of the hens. Alrighty. So now that we're in here, we can really see the hardware cloth that I was talking about. I didn't go up and over. That would have required more than double the hardware cloth that I have on it. And so that's where I got a little bit of savings, right? All right, so the dome feeder here, it detects the weight, the system does, and we can link all of these specific things once again, because even if you get the $15 plans or whatever they are from Cotton River Farms, it's not going to have these types of things in it. But yeah, so it'll detect the amount of water that it has just based off of a spring system, and it will close off the valve that's gravity fed from the reservoir outside. And then if this was much lighter, you can see, hey, we're actually getting now a consistent flow of water, right? So it'll fill it up till it's about flush with the top of the dome feeder, and then it'll stop. And so that's really good for us just because of the maintenance, like I was saying earlier. The other thing about having this suspended on a single galvanized wire is anybody that owns chickens, they like to crap in the feed and they like to crap in the water. They just crap on absolutely everything. And so when it's on a single galvanized wire, they're not going to have the ability to land on this and just crap all inside of their own water, right? Because if they try to land on it, it's just going to move, okay? And so this is what this has worked super, super well. Every time we fill the reservoir up, we just kind of hose this thing out from the exterior. And so far, we've had no mold growing or algae or any of those types of things. So it's been really, really good. And like I said, this has been about 2 months old at this point. All right, from the interior, you can see the nesting box. Cool thing about this is from the exterior, once again, I can pull this chain from the exterior, hook it on a nail that I have up there, and I can close the nesting box for the night if I'm worried about them just staying in there and crapping on the eggs or whatever the case is. So that's pretty neat. And then these are roosting bars. So if your chickens your hens, your rooster, if they like to sleep up high off the ground. I guess it's just a bird thing, right? And so they absolutely love these. And then these provide the benefit for us in terms of stability, right? So you're heaving on this thing, you're pulling it pretty hard because we move it about every 3 days. And this is going to give it that lateral stability so it's not pulling out of square. And you'll notice here at the bottom of every corner, we have a 45 cut. That's in the plans as well, just to keep everything square when you're moving it. And in Florida, we do have flatlands, but because I've had chickens in this specific part of the yard for a good amount of time, it's a little bit rocky because they do like to burrow a little bit and then throw dirt all over themselves. But yeah, As far as the height goes, I'm 6 foot even, maybe a little bit taller with shoes, and this is 6'5", and so it's perfect because our last coop, I was hunched over the entire time, and it's just not a good environment to work in, to clean in, to feed them in, right? And so we wanted something that was a little bit higher. If you're super tall, all you have to do is bring the sides in a bit, and then that's going to, when you bend these cattle panels over, it's going to push the peak of the ceiling up that many more inches, right? And so you can really get as tall or as short as you want with something like this. Another thing that I will note is, just turn towards the door real quick. Yeah, I put a little bit more bracketing on the door just because I didn't want it sagging or anything like that. But this was a absolutely worthwhile idea, that if I didn't get the blueprints or anything else, but I just saw this on the blueprints, or sorry, the plans or whatever, but I just saw this would have been well worth it. It's putting these washers, and these are very inexpensive galvanized washers you can get off of Amazon. They're included in the purchase of the Cotton River Farms blueprint. But anyways, just using washers and exterior screws, really short exterior screws, is a much better way to cinch down your hardware cloth that I never would have thought of on my own, because typically we just use staples, and you're just stapling the piss out of one of these. And over time, the staples are going to either pull out, right, or rust out, or whatever the case is. And so this is a much greater, in terms of longevity, this is going to hold a lot longer than any staple will. And the other thing of note is, anybody that's made a hoop coop, you use a lot of zip ties, a tremendous amount of zip ties. They last for a while. They can dry rot and things. But the beauty of this design is, if you can, Lindsay, let's zoom in on the bottom here, is we've got these, I don't know if you can really see it, but they are these galvanized or stainless steel pieces of metal that loop around and then button at the bottom, and then you put in. So they actually act as a really, really secure anchor. And so all these screws that you're seeing at the base of the coop here, they're anchoring those stainless steel, I'm really not sure what they're called, but they're the perfect size for cattle panners. Yeah, they're effectively clips that you just throw a screw in, but they really hold these cattle panels very, very secure all along the base. So you're not going to have to worry about this thing potentially, if you have hurricanes like we do in Florida, blowing away from your base. It's really just going to move as a singular unit. The bad thing about the larger coop design is, both my wife and my children are not able to even budge this thing. So it really will take the strength of a man to do it. For those of you that work out, which I definitely should more, it's probably slightly heavier than your warm-up deadlift. So it's not light by any means. And then depending on how far you're pulling it, it can get pretty taxing on the hands, on the back, whatever. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, super cool design. All in, like I said, $726. So it is pricey. It's definitely not cheap. But I think with this design specifically, it doesn't look terrible. So if you care about that kind of thing, if this is in your front yard, it's not going to look terrible. Like, it's a decent looking coop. And then I think it just has the greatest longevity in terms of what you can build with wood, right? If you want something cheaper than this and smaller than this, go with PVC. It is kind of difficult to get the hardware mesh on there properly. We have 2 of those in the yard currently, and that was actually my last hoop coop, was a PVC base hardware mesh and chicken wire. But yeah, and those are also super light. So if you're going to move those around, I think, yeah, my wife could have moved those pretty effortlessly. Of course, it was much smaller. So accommodating the 20 hens and the 1 rooster, is you're going to have to move it every single day. And sometimes even more often than that, with the amount of chickens that we have directly right here. But yeah, this was just a quick look at our coop. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. Yeah, so after looking at the initial kind of walkthrough, I mean, if I was wordy, just fast forward, but Lindsay's actually going to show a few different clips and or videos of the build. The build process took me, I want to say it was just over 17 hours. But due to like rain and other issues that we had here in Florida, I couldn't work on it, 2 or 3 days in a row. So it did take me about 5 or 6 days to complete start to finish. But if you have about 20 hours or so in your week, you can definitely knock one of these out, move it out to where you want, and then just test all the things inside of it. If you do get the blueprints, which we're obviously not affiliated with by any means, but if something is good, I definitely want to shout it out. If you do get the blueprints, it has in the PDF a hyperlink to all of the Amazon buys that you can get. And for us, that was exterior screws, the galvanized washers, the tarp, the exact tarp that would fit this most appropriately. So I didn't have to go out and measure, hey, is this actually 12 feet or 16 feet or whatever the case is. This one just fits perfectly. The amount of wood that you'll need to purchase at your local Lowe's hardware store, whatever it is, right? And all of the specific angles that you'll have to cut. So if you're not really good with a speed square or building in general, I would say probably don't shy away from this project because it's not a massive undertaking. If you've got some time, if you have a drill, a skill saw, it's really all you need for this. Yeah, so it wasn't difficult by any means, just time consuming.
All right, guys, so just like he said, I'm going to do just a little voiceover to let you know what's going on. These are all the clips that I took while he was building it. No, I did not video the entire thing because that was several hours, and we have 6 children, so I just came out whenever I could in between things, but here he's just showing you there's a big spider in his saw. So what he's doing first, obviously, we got the, what is it called? The plans. We printed them off. We ordered them and they sent it through email, and I will link all that down below. So if you're interested in the plans, you can also order them. I think it was like $15 for the plans, and then you have to have a printer and print them off, and then you're good to go. So first off is getting the plans and then cutting all the wood. Then he just went in order that they gave him, and the order was first building the doors, not the doors, the ends of the coop. And so everything he did, I was going to tell you, he pre-drilled everything, and I know that that's kind of annoying, and he said it's frustrating, but that's really the only way to do things properly is to pre-drill and then drill your screws in. So it took a little bit extra time, but in the end it was worth it. Also, one thing he wanted me to mention was if you have somewhere level, that is the best place to build this. We were building this like off of a concrete slab that was at an angle, so that was pretty difficult to keep things level. So we had to like finagle like little pieces of wood under it just to get it to sit properly. So if you have a flat, level surface, that is the best place to build your chicken coop. Okay, so once that was built, he did the frame of the door first. So we got both ends, and then we attached it to the bottom 2 by, I don't know what those are called, the really long pieces of wood. So that's going to be the bottom, and then we did the roosting bars to make it even more secure. And these are the little clip tie things that he was telling you about, and they are included in the plans as well. Everything is included, like the links, not like it comes with the plans. You have to buy this stuff extra, but it is included in there for you to get the exact ones, and they're all Amazon links. And he said these were really good to have and make it very secure for the cow panels. So This is what he did. He put them all over. He did a lot of them. I think he used the entire pack. So he used them as much as he could and to make it more secure. Alright, so next what we are doing is the nesting box, and all of the angles, all of the measurements are in the description if you buy the plans. So we just got one sheet of plywood and we used what we needed out of that for the wheels and for the nesting box. So he's cutting all that, and then I'm going to end up helping him just because he needed two hands. So we're not going to have a lot of footage of this, but I will show you the afters. Obviously you can see us going and doing some of the work together. Here it is right here. This is what I was trying to tell you. I had to help him hold this in place so he was able, what he did first, he said really worked, was he stapled these in. Right here where I was touching you, he just stapled him in with, not stapled, he used his nail gun, and then he's going to come back in and pre-drill the holes and then put an actual screw in there. So by stapling it with the nail gun, it was able to hold it in place long enough for him to just be able to screw or put an actual screw in there. That way it was level and it wasn't moving around, you know. So here he is coming in with the pre-drill, and then after that he's gonna screw them in. So after he got the box made, he attached hardware cloth again to the bottom. So when the chickens are up in there and they use the bathroom, it can just go through the little slats and it's not a big mess all the time. You can come in and just hose it down whenever needed, but and I didn't show him getting the piece of tin and cutting it, but he did get a piece of tin that was around our property, and then he's going to put those screws in it on the top just to keep it in place and keep the water from going through. And if you can help it, try to put something in front of your nesting box, like we put a tarp, just because like every animal, you know, chickens as well, they like to lay eggs in the dark. They don't like to be out in the open. They feel safe. So if you can make it dark in the nesting box, that is what they like and prefer. And just showing you here, the kids were playing because we had a massive thunderstorm, so there was a puddle nearby and they wanted to play while we were out here working, so we went ahead and let them get all dirty. This is what I was telling you about. He's putting the screws in, and after that we put the tarp on, and that's basically it, and it's done. He had to move it all the way to where we live. We are doing this over here near our in-laws' house, so he had to drag it a pretty long way, but he's strong, he can do it. So I could not help him. I tried lifting this thing, it didn't even budge. I was pulling it back and I was almost on the ground pulling it with my entire body weight, and it would not move. So you have to be pretty strong if you're gonna move something like this. I could not do it, and my kids definitely, like, maybe when they get old we can all work on it together if he's not able to move it, but it's very heavy, guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and that's about it. If you have any questions, please link them down below. Not link them, but just comment down below, and I would be happy to give you the answer. If I do not know, my husband will look and he will answer you the best that he can. And I will also leave the link to Cotton River Farms down below. Thank you guys for stopping by our channel. See you next time.